back to another episode of Housing for Good, where we talk about that intersection between real estate and community service. And today we've got I think a lifelong realtor. You've been doing this for a while?
Yeah, I got licensed in 2003 when I was a sophomore in college.
Oh, because the legend was that you got pre-licensed in the womb and came out as an agent.
Unofficially, yes.
Okay. So you grew up in a real estate family?
I did. I am third generation real estate here in Tucson. My grandfather moved here in 45, and he was a commercial developer, and he developed a couple shopping centers here in town. And then my father took over that business with his brothers, and then my father started Harvey Mordka Realty in 1975.
Okay.
Yep.
And you were born, and then in 2003 you got your license?
2003 I got my license, and then 2012 I took over the business.
All right.
Yep.
And it's still in business?
Still in business.
Whew, okay, that's good. That's always a tough thing here. And then you've done a few roles within the association. You run the thing for a while, didn't you?
Unofficially. I was the president in 2020, and then I've had numerous roles my whole tenure as a realtor. So yeah. So.
And the clapping you hear is from our producer, Lisa, in the background, who has promised to not ask too many questions, although we encourage her to ask those questions because they make things fun. The world in which you live is sort of this balance between commercial and residential?
Yeah, I mean, I think someone coined it resmercial, so that's definitely kind of like what I am.
Did you coin that?
I did not. I wish I had. So.
Well, you got to work on it. You coined something.
I know. Eventually.
You're a very creative person.
Yeah. Got to get that mailbox money, right?
Yeah. Which do you prefer? Do you have, like, if you had to do one or the other?
It really just depends on the client. I mean, okay. I would say like my true being of what I enjoy the most is investors. Really first-time investors, people that are like ready to start trying to grow their wealth, trying to make an investment in the future. So whether that's residential or commercial, obviously I think all real estate ownership is an investment. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of I get to enjoy all aspects because I tell people, and I'm sure you preach the word, that when you do when you buy your first home, it's an investment in your future, and over the course of the United States, you're probably going to get a lot of appreciation. So. Yeah,
I think that's what we're seeing right now too. The market's just been pretty intense. With your investors, do you have any building houses? Because we need some houses.
I know the hard part about building houses is the soft costs. So to put in the utilities, to put in the streets, to do all that. That's where it really is a government issue at its core. And I think when the government starts to make it easier for developers to do what they do, I think it'll be a benefit to everyone, especially those that need housing.
So you hear that, but then I've been seeing many video games in which you can build an entire city in just a few hours.
Yeah, exactly. The hard part is getting into the city.
Okay. So you also you started some organization a couple years ago about what the Europeans might call football, and we call soccer.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that? Because this is just an amazing...
I definitely didn't start the organization. I was a steward of the organization. In the 90s...
So you didn't start it?
No.
Oh, this interview is over. I thought you started this whole thing.
In the 90s, Bill Viner of Pepper Viner Homes.
Oh, okay.
His kids were soccer players, and they were tired of going to tournaments, and everyone would get in. They would eat at a pizza joint in the hotel lobby, and... then they'd play their games and leave. And so what they did, Bill Viner and about 4 other parents of the soccer players started what's called the Fort Lowell Shootout at the time. And they said, all the kids can meet here, and we'll have a parade, we'll have like a welcoming event, kind of like the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. Mm-hmm. And then we'll give them a little contest to do, and then they can go home, rest, and then come play their tournament games. So what started out as a little idea grew and grew and grew, as most good community events do. They find a way to stick around. And I started volunteering there my first year as a realtor because I met Diana Cannon, who was also worked for a title escrow company here in town. She goes, we need volunteers, and I went over there and just fell in love with the tournament because It brought in a lot of outside money from the surrounding states and surrounding cities.
Did it start that way, or did it just start with like Tucson?
It started like Tucson and like Phoenix.
Okay.
And then it just grew, and so now they have teams from Texas. They have teams from a ton from New Mexico, California. We've had like Hawaii. They had teams from Poland. They had a team from Thailand, England. You know, obviously those are like the sponsor ones that they want to come over.
Mm-hmm.
But during my tenure, we ranged anywhere from 325 teams to I think the most we ever had was like 399. And when you multiply that out, these are all kids teams. So you have usually 15 players, and then they have parents, brothers, sisters, grandparents, and coaches, and you look at the hotel rooms, and you look at the going out to buy pizza, going out to buy ice cream, and it just usually would bring in about the impact that was told to us by Visit Tucson was like $2 to $4 million to the economy.
And that's over a period of how many days?
It's always MLK weekend, so it's always Friday to Sunday.
Good heavens. And how many teams right now?
I think when I stopped, it was 2019, and I think that year we had like 350-ish.
350 teams?
350 teams.
350.
350.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's where the millions come in.
Yeah, I mean the first night we would put 12,000 people into Keno Baseball Stadium. So.
Yeah, I know the Tucson Association of Realtors has been a sponsor of that for some time, and got to go to a few of those ceremonies. And I got to tell you, the first time I went, I did not know what to expect. I was expecting this sort of little league atmosphere, and it's definitely youth sports, but this is a big time production.
Yeah, you know, the planning is a year-round committee that put it together, and then probably 7 days before it actually people start showing up, it's just all hands on decks, mostly done by volunteers that put it all together. And just a great tournament, great thing for Tucson. And I always tell people, they'd ask why you do it, and I would say because it's an investment in our city. They would come and they would redo all the parks before the tournament. Mm-hmm. So the curbs would get painted, the grass would get mowed, the toilets, bathrooms would get cleaned. And then it's a fun thing to have in your community where, you know, if you're a local kid, you've seen it all your whole life. I mean, people my age, they played it when they were playing soccer, you know, when they were 6, 7, 8 years old. So it's been around for a long time.
Are you a player?
I played, I never played club because I like playing other sports, but I did play soccer until my junior year.
Did you ever play in the shootout?
I never did.
Oh. Were you any good?
Average.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Goalie?
You know it.
All right. Just make sure you're.
I played defense a couple years too. But.
Okay. Are you familiar with what's happening down in that Keno area, like that youth development complex? You got any insight on that?
I don't have any insight. I mean, I think it's great that they were able to expand it and put it to more use. Obviously, you know, being a lifelong Tucsonan, you hear a lot of people say the baseball stadium should have been downtown. I 100% agree, but, you know, things happen and it's where it is. So you got to make the best of what you have. And I think, you know, putting an investment down there and making it a complex that people use and people will attract people, obviously attracts commercial development, which you're seeing right now.
Yeah, and I think that it's going to be more sports and more teams that are able to come out.
Yeah, and I think the Ice Cats are going to go down there.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, so.
That's what I heard.
The Mosaic Quarter we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Mosaic Quarter. My producer, Lisa, from the background reminds us. We had an event where we brought in a lot of the economic movers and shakers into the TCC, and they were part of that. So we actually have a little clip of what they're doing on our website.
Nice.
So it's fun to share that because I don't get out of downtown much, right? That's my core. I'm downtown. I love downtown. I'm always there, and they're like, "Oh, what's happening down in Pima?" I'm like, "At Keno." I'm like, "Where is that?" I gotta look on a map.
There you go.
But I get to hear all these cool things. This is a little personal, but if you don't want to share, that's fine too. But there's just some interesting news on Facebook about your family.
Yes.
And I think that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, me and my wife made the decision. We wanted to become foster parents about 1.5 years ago, almost 2 years now. We got licensed, and then the first phone call we got was for a little baby boy, and we had the great blessing to be able to adopt him. So our little family of 2 became a family of 3, and we're through them.
Your first foster experience?
First foster kid literally was the one that we adopted. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you expect that going in?
No, not at all. So it was we got him, and instantly fell in love with him, and then thank the good Lord we were able to adopt him and keep him forever.
At what point? Was it like instantaneous? Like you saw this kid? Because he was young. I mean,
He was 12 days old. I mean, it was pretty instantaneous for me and my wife. You know, you never talked about it because you don't know how long you're going to have a foster kid for.
Right.
But, you know, now that he's official, you can know that, like, it was meant to be. It was a blessing from above.
So one of those things where we're going to have to adopt, otherwise we're going to have to move because we're going to be on the run. From 'cause he ain't going
No
back.
is the right answer to that.
The paper signed. You're good. What got you into the foster program?
You know, we're sitting looking at our lives, and you know, I just turned 40, and you know, you have an extra couple bedrooms in your house, and you think about the need of, you know, the kids out in the community that do not choose this life. And so we just decided that we had a lot of love to give, and we wanted to focus it on foster care and see how that went. And you know, the first time it happened was a bullseye. So, and then everyone always asks, "Are you going to do it again?" And we just tell people, you know, we're going to enjoy this one as a new family and enjoy it for a little bit, and then see where it takes us.
Try not to preempt the questions because that was going to be my next question.
It's everyone's next question.
Now I have nothing. There'll be a moment of silence while I think of the next question. But for people that are considering this, what kind of thought process went through prior to signing up? I mean, you said you had to get licensed.
Yeah, so you have to go through. Typically, most people will go through a state license organization. So there's Arizona Baptist Children's Services. There's Christian Family Care. There's, I would say, probably 50 other ones that you can go through. You go through them. They will help you get licensed. They will tell you what to do, what you need to do, what you can't do, and then you get state certified. Your house does, and then you're on the list. And when a kid that is in need comes, you get a kid in need. And it can be, I would tell people that the first thing you have to do is you have to have a very strong relationship with your partner, because you are inviting, for a lot of things, just chaos. Even with the best kid in the world, it's still a complete change to your daily life, your daily, you know, schedule. You know, you go from two professionals. My wife's a speech pathologist at Tucson Medical Center, and I do real estate, of course. And you know, all of a sudden, we're going about our day getting ready for work, and then the next day they go, "Oh, who's taking care of the 12-day-old?" So,
oh, should have thought through that.
yeah. So you know, it's definitely a shock to the system.
So it's how long from it was 12 days, and then how long until you adopted?
He had already turned 1, so it was about a year and a month that he was adopted.
Is that a normal timeline? Do you know, or is that?
We were told that was one of the fastest ones they've ever seen.
Yeah, especially, and I think a lot of times in the foster community, getting a newborn is rare as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's rare. You know, as far as adoptability, newborns are always the most like desirable for a lot of people that are looking to adopt. So it's unusual to maybe not get them, but to keep them. Yeah.
During the process, I'm sorry, I have a question. During the process, are you telling yourself don't get too attached, don't get? At what point then do you just like lose it and you're like, I'm attached?
So you can tell yourself that all you want, and you know, but you're attached. I mean, it just depends on the person that you are. But I would say most people that are getting into foster care, not to say they're all great people, because there are some people that do it for nefarious reasons. But for the most part, you have to have a heart that loves, and when you have a heart that loves, you're gonna fall in love with kids and pretty darn quick. So.
I love that.
Once again, our producer Lisa is crying in the background, which seems to be a regular occasion we bring real estate agents in who are doing good things in the community. And I think that's what this is all about. You know, I mean, there are things that I get to do, and there's things that a lot of individuals in the real estate community get to do because of the flexibility and the trust that people put in us to do these transactions. It's hard to find a job that gives you the flexibility that we have.
Yeah, and with the flexibility comes, you know, not many realtors focus on, you know, oh, I only work with engineers, or I only work with school teachers. For the most part, we work with people throughout the community, and when you work with people throughout the community, you're going to hear the goods and the bads of the community. And so I think that's why realtors are involved with so many things, not just on personal levels, but a lot of times you hear a need and you're going to try to help that need because you have friends. I remember in 2007, right as the crash started to happen, the 2008 school year was going to be really tough, and that was the first year TAR did a school bus drive, I believe, and we just, got supplies ready and got that, and it was a former realtor, Jill Knox, and I remember me and Jill Knox standing outside of a Office Max in 110-degree weather with a school bus behind us, and we were trying to fill it up. So, and then it's just taken off from there. So, yeah, when you're in the community, you hear the needs of the community.
Yeah, you're 100% right on that. We hadn't really thought about it in that way. It was always something from a personal passion, but that personal passion is oftentimes driven by someone else's exposure to you.
Yeah, when you're a broker or a realtor, most of the time your passion is people. And then the more you get to know people, the more you want to help people. So
I kind of want to end it there because that's like a perfect line. But is there anything else we missed? Anything else you want to share?
I mean, I would say we're a divided country right now as far as politics go, and I'm not going to get political, but I think we all need to strive really hard to try to work together to find solutions for the people in our community that are hurting, and they're all hurting for different reasons, some by choice, some by hereditary, some by, decisions that were thrown at them. But I think it's the constant bickering and yelling back and forth and saying it's my way or the highway is not how you get things solved. And I think you're probably seeing that in your interviews with realtors, that I guarantee you we're not all the same, but we're all trying to, do good for the community.
How do people follow you if they want to? Are you on social media?
Yeah, so I mean, you can follow me on social media. We have Mordka Realty on Instagram. We have Mordka Realty on Facebook. Personally, it's just Billy Mordka on Facebook.
Mordka.
You got it.
All right. And then are you still involved with the Shootout?
No. So I retired from the Shootout in 2019. So that was my last year. And then I did TAR, Tucson Association of Realtors, and that was my vice presidency year, my president's year.
Yeah, when we got COVID.
Yes, I was the COVID president, and then after that, we knew we were going to go into foster care, so I kind of stepped away from that. So it's very important not to put too much on your plate.
But they're still surviving, right? They made it. They're doing okay without you.
I believe they are. Yes, yes, sir. They're doing well.
And that happens every time each year.
What?
But you said it was Martin Luther King?
Yeah, the Shootout is MLK weekend, and I always tell people when they go, what's the hottest time of the market in Tucson? And I always say MLK weekend when the Shootout is, and then U of A graduation. So that's always the hot market. A lot of people in town, and the weather is beautiful.
Well, Billy Mordka, lifelong realtor basically.
Lifelong Tucsonan.
Lifelong Tucsonan, actually, and appreciate what you do in our community. Good luck with the family, and let us know when you have the next foster child experience, and we'll bring you back.
You'll have me on again.
We'll see how that's going.
Very good.
We'll do the sequel.
All right. Thank you, Tom.